It's because of your team, it's because of your client for trusting in you and being with you, and also your parents, your family.
Starting is always exciting. Running the same thing for the last 4 years and 5 years is the most boring thing. In your 20s and 25s and 30s, invest in learning as much as possible. The returns which it would give you, it's limitless.
There are many people who buy course but they don't learn.
Trying to learn what institutions teach us,
Exactly.
and the learning becomes so boring. We hate learning as a process, but we were never trying to become a self-learner.
What I see is curiosity is much important.
The only content strategy which I believe is on consistency. Consistency doesn't mean you putting out 10 videos a week, right? Consistency means if you're putting out 2 videos a week, continue the same thing. If you're putting out 3, continue the same thing. If you're putting out 1, continue the same thing.
How often do you ask why to yourself?
Only strategy which I believe is
Mr. Haris Aboobacker on the podcast, founder of Haris & Co. and co-founder of Haka. So Haris is the first social media mentor of mine and I have been watching him from almost 5 to 6 years right now. Haris, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Junaid. I mean, it's mutual. I was also watching you a lot in Instagram from the time I came out from the college, right? And it's great to sit with you on this podcast and share a few things which I have learned, and also hear from you what have you also experienced and things like that. Yeah.
Of course. So Harris and I come from a same university where we have studied, and one thing what I know about Harris, he have built a legacy through Harris and Co. and he have done a impact on a content industry in agency market and so many other things which we will speak, and how he have built this entire ecosystem of digital marketing starting with agency, then academy. There are so many things which he have done apart from that, built having 280 plus people in his agency. That is massive. From place like Kerala he started this and he is going to world. That's huge, Harris. Thank you
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
on the podcast.
Sure, pleasure, man.
So, Harris, before starting the podcast, I want to know a quick story in short about you, where you come from, and what was your goal as a child, and how you have reached so far. Was it the same goal which you had?
Um, yes, definitely. I had, when I was very small itself, I had dreamt of being an entrepreneur, building business. I have, fortunately, it says right, you become like 5 people you always hang out with. Fortunately, I was able to hang out with people who, I mean, back then, who talk about a lot about Steve Jobs, Apple, 3 comma club, billions, millions, and etc. I mean, childhood friends and things like that. Fortunately, so I was able to understand all of these things, because I come from a very small city called Kasargod, and startup culture was nothing when we started over there, right? So fortunately, I was able to be in this group where these people always discuss a lot about digital and billions and millions and all these larger Fortune 500 companies and things like that. So I have grown listening to all of these stories and realizing there is a great world outside where I'm coming from, right? And then I was part of a lot of business, and most of the business which I've done has failed miserably. Um, and one fine day I quit everything which I was doing, and I started focusing on content creation, because if I was not having enough time to focus on anything else. Reason being, my family wanted me to come to Dubai. I mean, not just like this. Today I came to Dubai. I mean, building that business and managing the team and things like that. My family wanted me to come to Dubai and work here, but somehow I wanted to figure out something, because I used to hate being in Dubai. I mean, I really wanted to live in Kerala, right? So somehow I started putting out content, and I got my first client. 5,000 rupees was my first client used to pay me, right? 6 months down the line, I was able to give them the results, right,
Hmm.
in Instagram marketing, which they're looking forward, whatever the results they look forward. And that gave me the confidence that something in me had the marketer in me, right? And I started listening to a lot of the one thing which I made right, or one thing which I have done right from the very start, is that uh, when we were just 3 member team, right? I used to dream of Ogilvy, Shamang, and all these people who are 1,000 and 1,500 agency. I mean, one fine day, I remember this particular story. I was speaking to my team, right? And as I was speaking to my team, and there was two of my friends sitting in my office, and I was telling like we can't be 3 member team. We have to be 100 and 150 member team. I want to have an office where 500 of us. I love handling people. I love uh, being with people, right? I love having all this building people and things like that. I love all the topics related to people, right? So I was talking about having a team size of 500 and things like that, and these people were laughing at me, and they were also telling Harris, "You're a very optimistic guy." I mean, but today we are almost 280 to 290 people, right?
Wow.
So that's how. Fortunately, so I started dreaming all these bigger agencies, and I started watching them very close. Indirectly, they were my mentors, right? Whenever, I mean, more than the founder, I know when do they post in Instagram, what type of content they post in Instagram, what type of blogs they put in website, and everything about them. I used to watch them very closely. So indirectly, my dream went much higher than
Mhm.
um, what we were doing back
Mhm.
then. So that's when I thought we have to be an agency where we start very locally, and the agency which is built for global market, not just stay in Calicut. No, from Calicut to the world is something which we took that mission, right? And today I'm happy that we are serving a lot of clients from different types of, I mean, different countries, sitting in Dubai, right? We have people, companies from Egypt, we have companies from Australia, we have companies from UK, we have
Mhm.
companies from US. All these clients we are serving from Dubai, we are sitting with them for the meeting, we are handling their digital. And all of this is done in the back end. There's a very strong, committed, capable team sitting in Kerala, and they're also working for larger portfolios. We had the fortunate to work with Denu, Barada, TCS, and all these clients, right? So that is something which I'm grateful about, right? So this is my story in short. But in short, all that I am and all that I ever be, right? I dedicate to my team who believed in me. I mean, there
Yes.
was very small team. These people are still with me, right?
Mhm.
They're dreaming, they're building, they're working, everything with me, right? So I am thankful for them, the team and the clients which trusted. There's a lot of clients who's still with us in the last 5 years and 4 years. So this is my story in a nutshell. It's just a small boy from a small town started to dream something, something which he wanted to, um, what like built, I mean, built locally, and uh, we have started dreaming of global markets. That should be our mission, from Calicut to the world, and that's what we are trying to serve. I don't say we are 100% done yet. No, not at all, but we are trying our level best.
You know, I can resonate each and every sentence for what you're mentioning. I'm 5 years behind you, but you mentioned one specific thing, calicate to the world. And I always say this line to myself, butkel to the world from the place where I come from. And I will be like, one day I will reach that level. And as you mentioned, like, you have to be around people who you see them like this. And Harris, to be honest, I will tell you one thing. I know you from last 4 5 years right now. there were few people in my head. I always follow them closely, someone who I knew, and you were one among them, and you were among my 30 guest list which I made when I started this
I
podcast.
think you started then. You might have started following me when I had one table and one laptop.
Of course, yeah.
So you know the full story and growth and everything.
So, your story, if I can tell, I remember you named yourself as Instagram Shark, and the first time when I met you, I invited on my live chat. After that, I joined one of your
Yes, I
courses.
remember. Yes, yes, yes. The live chat, Instagram live. Yes, I
Yes.
remember. Yeah, please.
So after live chat, I joined one of your courses. Then I got to know you much better. You know, one thing what I adapted you from you at that time was your training skills. And I realized, how did I even grab that thing? How did this style came to in me? And then I saw your training style. It was imbibed from you when I was training people on social media, on YouTube. I felt like, how did this energy come to me? And it was from Harris, for what
Thank
I
you.
realized.
Thank you. Grateful.
Thank you, Harris. So before starting the podcast, you have mentioned couple of things in your story. I want to break down and ask you few things on your mindset. And I'm very curious about your team, your clients. I want to ask you, because of your team and your client, you are someone. And
Exactly.
I always tell, it's, for example, if someone right now I'm standing, sitting here in this chair, it's because of your team, it's because of your client for trusting in you and being with you, and also your parents, your family.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, Harris, you mentioned that you have failed in multiple businesses and you realize, okay, this is the point. I need to stop majority of the thing and I need to focus on one thing. What was your mindset at that time? Like, what did you feel like? You got a direction at front, or you planned like, okay, let's see whatever is going to happen?
See, so I was doing a lot of things, and all I wanted. I mean, it was not something which is very innovative and very large kind of a business and things like that. So I was always thinking, God, all that I wanted was some business to make some money. I mean, not even profit and things like that. Why is that not happening? So every business is not reaching there. So there has to be some reason, right? So when I quit everything, right? When I quit everything, I started watching a lot of mentor videos and things like that. And there was this one particular video where this guy mentioned that. So ask this question: what is your biggest asset in life, right? And normally we all as a audience, we all started shouting a lot of things, like I've told, money is your biggest asset and time is your biggest asset, and um, we were mentioning a lot of things, and he told, not all of that is not your biggest asset. Your biggest asset in life is focus, right? So then I realized every time when I was doing one business, I used to have two or three other business also, right? And it's not good to have, it's not good to divide your focus when you're just starting it out, right? 25 there's not 100% focus, right? So that was a mistake I was doing. I realized, right? Maybe that was a mistake, and I need to change that. So that's why I quit everything which I was doing and started focusing on one thing, right? Completely. And today also, if I want to, I mean, whatever to the audience, if I have to convey something, right? There's a lot of people I know, right? Without making a good profit, or what? Let's forget about the profit. Without making a stable amount of revenue, like basic revenue, they started because of this dopamine rush, right? They start another business initially. I mean, because starting is always exciting, right? And running the same thing for the last 4 years and 5 years as the most boring thing, right? And people do not want boring things in their life, right? But as long as if even if you want to build another business or organization, the right way to do it is the present business should build the other business, right? So if today, if I have built everything, like we have 4 schools in academy, and we have 8 services in agency, two countries we are right now. Everything is built by, for example, academy is built with the help of agency, and then both together helped us becoming, having an office in Dubai, right? One course has helped us build another course, right? So that way it supports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So focus is going to be your biggest asset in life. I mean, it's not, you shouldn't start multiple things together, right? So that is something which my mentor told me, and I listened to it. I quit everything, and that was the right decision which I took, right? I built completely in one fine thing. That's why I've started Instagram marketing as to start with, not digital marketing, because there were plenty of digital marketers. It was not easy for me to stand tall with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I just starting out, right? But Instagram marketing, very few people were doing in Kerala. So I started branding myself as an Instagram marketer, and I started putting out a lot of content ideas and what tips and tricks back then, right? 5 years back about Instagram. And I started getting clients for Instagram.
Yeah.
So we say you have to niche down, right? Become an expert in one area. So that way you will be able to attract a lot of clients in that one particular area and remove a lot of competitors. So I started getting Instagram marketing clients. I started building results for them, and results help me. I mean, I always say whenever you start with, specifically in agency business, portfolio is like your what? Your confidence, right? The more portfolio you have, the you can go to any table and start speaking, right? These are the works which I have done. Today we are glad that we are sitting with a very beautiful portfolio in table, and any client comes with any services, we can show the works which we have done in that particular industry. So that is the major confidence which we have in order to build this, right? So portfolio is going to be your first 2 years or 3 years. You have to die for portfolio. We do this activity in our academy, like we ask the students to breathe, right? Breathe in and breathe out, and then I will ask them, when you breathe in, you have to think about portfolio. So breathe portfolio, right? You have to die for portfolio, we say,
Gotcha.
right? It's always so. Initially, if you, even if you work for less amount but build good portfolio, that will help you charge better in the longer run,
Future.
right? So that is something. So I look forward. I mean, I was running behind creating portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready for anything which will help me build that portfolio in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that portfolio, now we are able to start in a new market much easier, right? So focus is your biggest asset. That was a point which I got from mentor. So I used to learn a lot back then. I mean, go to every webinar that's possible out there, right? And you have a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
because you are right now away from the family. The only thing which you do is on 24 hours you are focusing on the business. So I used to, I mean, specifically I used to tell this to the students also. In Dubai, everybody says, right, you have to invest in real estate, you have
Yeah.
to invest in that, you have to invest in 13%, 15%, 25%, 40%.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first thing which we need to invest is in knowledge, learning.
Of
I
course.
mean, college is not the place which ends your learning. College is a place where actually the self learning starts, right? From there, the more you self learn, that is something which you focus on a career, and then you learn, right? Till then you have learned whatever your parents have told you to do, right? So I invested. I remember I took a digital marketing online course, right?
Mm-hmm.
35,000 was a course fee. 20,000 I took a debt and I joined. One fine day, um, these people took me out of the WhatsApp group also because I was not able to pay also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I took debt once again, 15,000. But that 35,000 was a gold mine. If I have to calculate the ROI of 35,000, it would be much bigger than anything which I would have invested: mutual fund, SIP, real estate, whatever it is, gold or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in your 20s and 25s and 30s, right,
Mm-hmm.
invest in learning as much as possible. The returns, which, I mean, self learning, it's not that institutional learning which I would say, the returns which it would give you is, it's limitless, right? So I used to invest a lot, right? Every course, every mentor, every webinar, uh, I used to be a participant and grab a lot of knowledge, and that helped me in big time, shaping my thoughts, shaping my minds, and understanding more about a particular industry and things like that. So these are all the things which I've done right when I was just starting it out.
You know, education, learning, where people are hesitant to invest right now. You say when you have a course online, people think, oh my god, I can't pay this much for the course. But for what I see is curiosity is much important. there are many people who buy course but they don't learn. I have experienced it personally. But when you have a curiosity about a particular thing, go for it, get the course, and get into in depth and learn from it. And as you truly mentioned, ki the best investment is in knowledge, education. You can do wonders in life with
The
education.
problem with the knowledge is we were trying to learn what institutions teach us,
Exactly.
and the learning becomes so boring. We hate learning as a process, but we were never trying to become a self learner. And that's what is important as a human being. We also need to train our kids to become a self learner. Like if they are curious about something, they have to find a ways to learn by themselves and become very, as you said, very curious about that particular thing and learn about it. So when you become a self learner, right, everything in the world is, I mean, it's just knowledge away, right? And it's, I mean, you will love learning as a process, right? Because we were trying to hate learning. We were trying to,
Yeah.
because we had to remember everything, and we have to put it in the answer sheet and things like that. So we were trying to learn, I mean, trying to hate learning. So you need to cultivate, I mean, we all need to cultivate a mindset where, as you said, curiosity builds, and it helps in learning. It can be in a podcast, it can be in a YouTube book, whatever it is. Learning is something which helps you, I mean, which gives you the tremendous return than anything.
You know, curiosity is one part. People right now they want to consume more rather than ask question. When you ask question, you get more curious. When you consume more, you will be like, okay, that's fine. That's I got it. I have the information, but you don't know how to use it. That's what I felt. And you mentioned about focus. Focus. Have you ever felt distracted on your journey?
uh, Many times you will definitely be distracted on your journey, because we are living in the world where, as I told, dopamine rush, instant gratification is the new new thing, right? Everybody needs. We were not trying to, I mean, we don't know how to, I mean, what happens, there's no boring feeling, right? Whenever we get bored, we open the mobile phone, so we started watching movies and Netflix and started chatting. So definitely distraction will happen, but unless you don't have a very strong purpose, I used to mention this a lot, I mean, why is very important, right? Most people start with how and what. That's a wrong way to start with. In our institution, we make sure that people start with why. We ask a lot of questions to them to write down, and whenever you think you're getting bored, or you think stopping in the midway, just read out this why once again, and that should motivate you. I mean, you shouldn't be motivated by these videos and motivational speeches and songs and things like that. You should be motivated with your why, right? So I was having a lot of why, thanks to my family, thanks to my friends, thanks to all the people who gave up on us, thanks to all the people who who doesn't give shit about what we were doing. So all of this was converted to as a why, and these whys were fueling me, and I don't need motivational speeches and videos to wake up and go to the work every day. And this why can be personal, but you need to figure out what is your purpose, right? Why are you doing what you're doing right now? And when your purpose is so strong, right, what happens, how do you do it, everything is secondary. And then you start to connect the dot backwards, right? It should start with your why, and whatever you do should connect the dot backwards, right? That should be, maybe making money is the last thing, but it should start with why, right? There should be a true intention behind what you're doing, and there should be a very strong purpose, right? Understand the purpose should motivate. Purpose should, even if you have to work maybe 1 hour 2 hour later extra, I mean, that should be because of the very strong why you have. And you need to start connecting the dot backwards to whatever you're doing right now. So fortunately, I had a very strong why. We as an organization have a very strong why are we doing what we are doing, and we have a very strong intention. It's not that we don't make mistakes, we make a lot of mistakes, but as long as your intention is right, you are there to try, you are trying to correct it again and again and
Of
again and
course.
again, and you're not giving up in correcting it, as long as you have a good ethical mindset,
Mindset.
whatever you do, it will end up in good. That's what I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
All that thing is you have to do it again and again and again. Consistency is the only strategy which we focus, and you also need to focus as an entrepreneur. I mean, there's no shortcut. There's no I mean, only through consistency you can achieve great, because in the longer run, your systems change, people change, your whys change, you make money, you build systems, you build leaders, you build A players, you have vision carrying your company and organization, everything forward. But in the shorter run, you only see day-to-day problems, um, system failures, and all of these things. So unless you have a long-term mindset, it's very difficult for you to sustain. So we have as if you ask, the only strategy I have is the long-term strategy, right? Where do we need to be when we are 10 years old, 15 years old,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that way, whatever happens in the day-to-day thing, so that helps, right? When you have a very strong why and a larger why,
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens in a day-to-day life doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
because you are motivated with this why. And when you look at the why, which is a big round, and the problem you see right
Yes.
now having is a small round, when you compare with that, uh, it sounds very small, right? But if you don't have a very large why, right, whatever the problem will stand shoulder to the dreams.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, you will easily give up, because that is not something which you think worth fighting for, right? So that is something which you need to understand. Yeah.
How often do you ask why to yourself?
I see, as I told, I have a lot of voice with me, and anything happen, I look at my purpose and I see that big circle, and I measure that with the problem which I am having right now, and the problem becomes a small circle, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's something which I think, okay, this is something which I need to figure out. That's it, and build a system around it. I mean, it should not be affecting, and that my why is also connected with the team, right?
Got it.
See, when when I achieve this why, my team should achieve their why.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Only then we can build a large company. I mean,
Of
there's no,
course.
it's not possible to build a large company having a dream. I mean, achieving founder alone achieving the dream, right? That's the old way of building a
Mm-hmm.
company. You need to have the collection of all the whys in your company
Mm-hmm.
determines how big the company is going to grow
Mm-hmm.
from the top to bottom. So that you need to find people with a lot of strong why, having
Indeed.
growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you can grow faster.
Mm-hmm. So I have a quick question about growth. Okay, like right now, I'm building something. Maybe let's say I'm building this podcast, and this is one format of content which I'm planning. And tomorrow I get one more idea of creating content, and I feel like, okay, let's say I will give you an example of Vox Pop. The podcast name is To Be Honest, and we are having an intellectual discussion. Tomorrow I go on road and do Vox Pop asking, what do you think of this? Okay, and this is another format of content. So this can help me in brand, or is it like it's a dopamine rush which I
as i
have?
as I told, we are motivated with a lot of dopamine rush and day-to-day things, right? We are bored with long-term things, but as I told, the only content strategy which I believe is on consistency, right? Whatever you do, consistency doesn't mean you putting out 10 videos a week, right? Consistency means if you're putting out 2 videos a week, continue the same thing. If you're putting out three, continue the same thing. If you're putting out one, continue the same thing. So the only long-term strategy, I mean, the only strategy which I believe is the consistency. So as long as you are consistent on one thing and you try out the other thing, that's completely fine. You have to do experiments. I mean, the more you learn, the better the styles and things like that. You have to do experiments. But if you don't stay
Mhm.
there for a very long time, it's very hard, difficult. People would confused, right? What if, let's say, you put out a few videos in English, you put out a few videos in Malayalam. No, neither Malayalam audience will follow you, neither English audience will follow you, because audience are now confused.
Mhm.
And what happens is a confused audience will never take action. There's a saying in marketing: if your audience is confused, there. That's why you see, you might have seen a lot of videos with millions and millions of views. When you look at their profile,
Mhm.
you only see 1,000 followers, because people go to their profile and then they don't see other videos of similar format, and they confuse if this guy is not putting out similar content. So I'm not getting the value which I came here for, so I'm not following you, right? So that's what, you shouldn't confuse your audience with a lot of things. There are a lot of people who do the same format, dude with sign. So this dude only does that, right? But this guy has more than millions and millions of followers. So consistency is a long-term strategy. Of course, you need to do experiments. That is not something which you need to not do. But the more, I mean, if you are planning to do podcast, sign for that algorithm and sign for that strategy for the next 5 years, right? If you think I'll do 5 podcasts and then I'll sleep, no, that's not something. I mean, the time you spend for podcast will also not be good, right? So consistency is the only strategy, but you can also experiment. That's completely fine. You can have a mix of content. The way I look at it is 70% of my content should be the major format which I use, right? 20% where I experiment on a day-to-day basis. 10% is where I sell myself, right? So that is something which you can also try. So I put out content on leadership, marketing, and culture. 70% of my content is leadership. I love talking about leadership, but I also need clients. 20% I put out clients related works and marketing related works, and 10% is where I sell myself, right? So you can have this kind of a texture where if somebody comes to your profile, they see more of your primary content.
Is it value?
Yeah, valuable content, and secondary content is where you experiment if this is working or not. But don't stop experimenting, because that is something which you have to do, right?
Got it. Is consistency boring?
Consistency is boring, right? Long term is boring. Short term is always exciting, right? But you need to sign for long term. You need to sign for boring thing. As I told, a person who does the same thing for 5 years, you cannot outsmart him at any cost, right? So we tell to this to clients also. Let's say you put out content today, I mean YouTube, right? 4 content a month. 1 year, it becomes how much? 50, 60 content, right? 5 years, 60 into 5, some around 300 contents. Let's say, I mean, if a competitor comes with a lot of money, he can run a lot of paid ads. He can beat you with spending money, but he can never, it's not easy for him to beat you with the number of contents you have posted. So consistency is also a leverage, right? And today's world, you also need to do, I mean, paid ads is not leverage, because tomorrow a client with a lot of money can spend more than whatever you spent, right? So the only leverage you have is on organic, right? So the more videos, you might have done 200 podcasts. I don't have, when I'm just starting it out, it's impossible for me to complete 200 podcasts in 1 month, right? So you have the leverage of 200 podcasts. So this leverage can only happen in consistently doing the same thing and with the time. So whenever you invest on, as a business owner, whenever you invest on paid, you also need to invest on what can get you leverage, right? Today we have 16,000 followers on Instagram in our agency. It's not easy for an agency to have 15K or 10K, more than 10K followers. It's difficult. Yeah. So that is going to be our leverage. So whenever you plan your marketing, you also need to have what gives you leverage in the long run versus what I can spend. SEO, it's going to be leverage. Tomorrow a new client comes with a lot of money. They cannot beat you in 1 month or 2 months, right? So SEO is also leverage. So as a business owner, you have to have the strategy that gives you leverage plus paid ads. Otherwise, you will be completely depending on paid means.
Got it.